a lot of really helpful information. Thank you so much,
Oh,
Gnamgula.
yes.
And is there anything more you'd like to add? Help us understand or implement the vows or prepare to take them?
I think you have to become aware of what you are affiliating yourself with, whether your life is affiliated with samsara, the source and the cause of our suffering. We have human body, so we're born. We have aging, sickness, death. So aging is a suffering. Milarepa said if we aged in one day, we wouldn't be able to tolerate the pain. Birth is terrible suffering, but we don't remember, but the suffering's there. Death, unless we know what to do, is a suffering. So as human beings, we have those four sufferings in common. All of us have those sufferings, whether we want them or not. So Buddha first taught the noble truth of suffering. And people think, oh, it's a bit bleak and, not a happy path. But unless you confront your suffering, then you can't really have happiness. It would be like having a really serious illness and denying that illness and pretending as if there's nothing wrong and going out drinking and dancing every night and, going crazy. But actually, you've got this terrible sickness that's killing you and you're not addressing it. It could be cured. There is a cure for it, for this terrible illness that you've got, but you're denying it. I'm not sick, so therefore you can't get better. So samsara, I think, has to be investigated because we very much believe if there's chocolate, if there's coffee, if there's a relationship, if there's a good job with lots of money, if I have a nice house to live, I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm having a good life. But we're not looking at the underlying sickness, that this is a samsaric body which is inevitably aging, inevitably going to get sick, and inevitably going to pass away. And all the non-virtue that you accumulate by trying to achieve the happiness in samsara continues on with you. We pack it in our baggage and we go off to the next life. And then the next life can be even more suffering than this life. And we wonder why me? It's not fair. I'm a good person. Why are all these bad things happening to me? Because we never address the actual situation of suffering. So I think the first thing we need to do is look at suffering and why we're suffering. And do we want to suffer? Do we want to continue suffering? And this is why I started thinking about discussing Chur, because Chur is leaning into the pain and the suffering. And in samsara, we want to lean back. The suffering's there, right? So we can lean into it and deal with it and transform it and do something with it to make our spiritual practice stronger. Or if we're samsaric beings, we lean back, or ordinary beings, we lean back and think, I don't like this. This is suffering. I don't like it. I don't want it. And so we try to get away from it. But in the trying to get away from it, it increases the pain and the suffering. So I think, my advice is do what you can in order to benefit others. At least be kind. Even if you're not taking vows or whatever, you just like studying the Dharma, that's fine. But at least be kind, be considerate to others. And I think as much as you can, use the suffering of samsara to be fuel in order to develop and create more compassion and more love. Because otherwise the suffering of samsara can get you down, can pull you down, and you start to think, what's it worth? Why am I living? What's the purpose of living? Why am I here? But if you have sufferings and you transform them into energy for compassion, then there's your purpose for living, because compassion is in relation to yourself and others. Love is in relation to yourself and others. Wisdom, relation to myself and others. So I'm not saying deny yourself, but I am saying have a bigger purpose, not just me, but me and you. We're in this together. We're interdependent, and we need to be in this together rather than thinking I'm in this, and I've got nothing to do with you. Very much we have something to do with you. We are connected. Where do we get our food? Where do we get our clothes? Where do we get our buildings? Everything is interconnected. So we need to have that mental connection, and then we need to have an actual connection. Go out and benefit sentient beings if you can. But the main thing, how to start, is have kind thoughts. Rejoice, in the goodness that others are doing. Be happy that we're in such a position that we have Dharma. The Dharma still exists in its entirety, because in future, bits of it won't exist. It will have disappeared, and then there's just buildings, and there's no Dharma. So right now, we still have Dharma. But how many people come to teachings? Few, in comparison to 9 billion sentient beings, 9 billion human beings. Few come to teachings. So it's up to those few to develop that power and that energy to help others to enlightenment, I think.
Beautiful note on which to finish this lovely interview. Thank you so very much, Genla. And please keep well and live long for us, please.
I do my best. Thank you very much, Lillian.
Pleasure.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.